I'm Dr. Tracy Stecker, and welcome to the Choosing Help podcast. Choosing Help presents conversations about courage, connection, and the transformative power of asking for support. Through candid discussions, expert insights, and real world stories, this podcast breaks down stigma and opens doors to understanding. Join our community committed to compassion and courage, because when we choose help, we choose life. Welcome to Choosing Help. I'm Dr. Tracy Stecker, and today we're going to talk about how healing it is to laugh, the simple joy of laughter and the healing properties of laughter. In order to prepare for this podcast, one thing I did was I looked up the benefits of laughter. It was something I'd never done before, and I thought, it might be good to know. How does laughter change your physiology? How is it healing? And I jotted down a couple. I'm going to read them. I was really surprised at the length of the list. I can't read all of them, but I'm going to read some of these because I think they're really important. Physiologically, it reduces your cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone. So all of us are looking for ways to reduce our stress hormone. Laughter is one of those things that does that. It helps relax your muscles.
Mm.
It stimulates the circulatory system. It stimulates circulation in your heart, your lungs, and all of your muscles. It releases endorphins. It relieves pain. It increases the amount of oxygen going to your brain. Some of the other not physiological things that happen with laughter, but also really important ones that I want to mention. It fosters bonding and social connection. All of you listening know somebody who's made you laugh or often makes you laugh. You feel close to them. If somebody makes you laugh, you are bonded with that person. And then really importantly, it can shift perspective. All of us have had those moments when we've felt dark, angry, sad, not thinking that that's a moment where you're going to crack up about anything, maybe even wondering if you'll ever laugh again. If something happens that does tickle your particular funny bone, and you laugh, it can change your perspective in the blink of an eye. It's actually amazing that our bodies are wired like this. If you think about it, what a miracle the gift of laughter is. And so I'm honored and so happy to introduce my guest today, Dee Kennedy. She is a former stand-up comedian. She is a speaker, a storyteller, an MC, a realtor, a mom, a wife, a great friend. And she has used humor her entire life to
Mhm.
help people heal. And so I'm just so happy to have you here with me today to talk about healing and laughter and the gift of laughter.
Oh, Tracy, I'm so thankful to be here. I'm so thankful to chat with you and talk about things that are encouraging and positive and helpful in this
Yeah.
stressful world, you know?
Very, very stressful world. So you have spent your whole life making people laugh.
Mm.
When did it start for you? When did you notice that you had, because you think about laughter, a lot of people like that, is it called slapstick comedy when somebody, a ball hits them in the face and people
Yeah.
laugh or walk
Yes.
into a wall and they have a certain type of reaction that's comical.
Mhm.
Some people like that slapstick. You actually have the gift of making people laugh, not an accidental, you
Mm.
know,
Okay.
slapstick kind of thing, but you have a gift of making people laugh. When did that start for you?
I think, Tracy, I was trying to reflect over life. And, as we all know, there are things in life that are very difficult,
Hmm.
and growing up, my childhood and our family dynamic was sometimes very stressful.
Hmm.
And sometimes it wasn't, a walk in the park because we're all human. However, like I was thinking about this, I think some of the things that my best memories were when my parents were laughing. And that wasn't a lot, sadly. I hate to say that. It just was not often. And I think that's why it's so remarkable to me,
Right.
thinking back. And I think about like things that In a tumultuous childhood, I think about those things were very monumental, like I just said.
Mhm.
My uncle Joel was my favorite uncle, and he always had a joke. He was always coming in with a joke. He could crack up everybody, but it's like what you said. It bonded it bonded me to people, and
Mhm.
it made me feel like I belong. And
Yeah.
as life goes on, I think it's kind of like one of my coping skills. And it's a way that I connect with people. And I don't know that I developed it. I think that's just one of the things that God gave me that I kind of honed because I said, oh, okay, I can make them laugh, then they must like me. I'm okay. So let me
Mhm.
do more of that. So even in my adulthood, as we all have different personalities and stuff, like you have more melancholy people, more reserved people. It's almost like as soon as I sense you're a little reserved, I'm going in strong. I'm going to try to crack that. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because not everybody doesn't need that all the time, but yeah, I think just my memories, my earliest memories, the things that were the most pleasant were my parents laughing, my uncle, and just kind of had the knack for it, and that was sort of like my safety net, my coping skill, I guess. I think
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
I was thinking one of the things I was going to ask you is can you think of a moment where humor got you through a dark time? But you're actually saying always. That's
I believe I think so, Tracy. I think so. I think, I was in the hard times. Well, even today. Well, let me just keep it like a little bit lighter. Even today, and you have a teenage son, correct?
hmm
Okay, so sometimes stuff gets pretty heavy,
hmm
and in our home, now my current home, my husband and my boys, we all want to be in charge. We all want to be right, and so we match energy and we go high, high, high. But a well-placed joke by somebody just completely diffuses the situation. Um, and I completely forgot what you just asked me. My mind just went elsewhere.
it was how does humor get you through dark times? And you were
I think it
saying so
just breaks
even
the tension, and
breaks
and
the tension.
And I think when you were speaking to like the cortisol levels decreasing,
Mhm.
blood pressure lowering, oxygen intake increasing, that naturally relaxes us to some extent. But I think always like a pressure valve being open,
Yeah. I
that
think you're making a really good point though, because let's say you have a family conversation and it
yes,
does get stressful. You're talking about something serious or somebody gets mad. I mean, you have teenagers, there are hormones,
yes,
there might be difficult conversations going on.
yes,
Um, Usually in those situations when you have negative affect, you have that negative emotion, you
mhm,
like is exactly what you said, a joke if it hits right.
right. And if it's yeah, it could ratchet it up and make it so much worse.
But what it can do is that shift of perspective, which is so important because those negative thoughts can swirl in your
Yes,
head. And when we're in that negative swirl, we believe ourselves. Our thoughts aren't necessarily telling us the truth. They're just not.
right.
Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. It's open for discussion whether what you're telling yourself in any moment is true or not. So if you're feeling agitated and then somebody says something funny, it opens your brain up to think about things in more fully. So that
Right.
it's a really important skill. I mean, I really value that in people, the gift of humor
Mm.
and the ability to laugh, the ability to feel joy,
Mhm.
even among darkness.
Because and as things are a little different than they are, as times are, I feel like with social media and we have instant access to things that I don't know, I saw on social media, but like one frame you're looking at a puppy with a sombrero on, and then the next video is some horrific thing, and That's too much. So I believe like that the things that are heavier and harder to deal with are more pervasive. And I don't know if that's just a selective memory or a choice to glamorize the past, but there's a lot coming at us. And I think about our children and younger kids, even eh, I just don't know that we're equipped to handle that constant
Mhm.
stimuli
Yeah.
is plural, right? Yeah, we're not,
Mhm.
we just, our brain just it's a lot. So I agree with you that a well-placed joke, not to say things are not serious, but
Right.
to give things some levity, just to
Yeah.
kind of, oh my gosh, and what you're saying about our the feelings not being facts, and I think you and I have talked about this. I've been sober for gosh, a long time now. It's 26 years, but that was something I learned in early recovery. Like feelings aren't facts. And
Mhm.
so it's just that simple, but they feel so real and they feel
Mhm.
factual. But um
Mhm.
I love that what you just said about it sort of diffuses, breaks the tension, just to keep
Yeah.
it sort of simplistic and gives perspective and reminds me that especially in a familial situation, I love these people. These are
Mhm.
not my adversaries, but
Mhm.
those kinds of whatever your weird truth, from trauma or not,
Yeah.
just to kind of give that distinction and lighten up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. In the moment when you're mad, we have
Yes.
all been mad.
No. Yeah.
For some of us, anger and mad is very motivating. It's a very, very useful emotion sometimes.
Powerful too, because I can get my way by I can try to dominate with my anger and because yes, sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah.
interrupt. Yeah.
No, you're fine. Please interrupt. For me, when I'm mad, man, my house gets clean.
Oh yes. Rage cleaning.
It's
Yes.
a Anger is
Yes.
a very, very motivating, can be a very motivating feeling.
Yep.
When you are angry, though, you are not using the logical brain, the rational brain. You're using the other side, which isn't necessarily rational. The truth is something's made you mad, and that's important, and it's important to address it.
Right.
But at that moment when you're actually feeling the anger, you might not be at the point where you can address it. So being able to even see the humor of the situation, sometimes there's not any, but you are still human and have, are attached to humanity. And there are all sorts of things in this life that are not just sad or mad, but they're joyful
Yes.
and pleasant and happy. And so
Yes.
being able to just even in the moment of extreme anger or sadness, being able to have that whole breath is really, really important. And I know I keep saying this, but I just think the gift of being able to make people laugh is such an important skill that
Yeah.
not everybody has. Some people are accidental. They're not trying to make people laugh, but sometimes they're funny. Um,
Yes.
you have the beautiful gift of intentionally setting out to be a healer,
Yeah.
to gift laughter to people.
Yeah, and I feel like that. Thank you so much. What a great compliment. But I do feel like that's something that I can give as a human being. Oh gosh, I'm gonna get emotional. But I mean, it was that we all want to in my opinion, we all want to feel connected, just like what you said at the start. It connects us to people, and that connection, like with my uncle and those happy memories of my family. But it's for me, it's such a small thing to extend that joy, because we can get so caught in our emotions and the heaviness of life and stuff. And so for me, and also as I get older and my filter of caring less about what people think, that's helpful for me to just kind of be more outward with it. But it's such a something we could, just to make people feel loved, included, seen, feel
Mhm.
important. um and I'm very thankful that I can, like, it's not lost on me that people need that. I need it, and I'm
Yeah.
just thankful that I would like to continue to choose to just be giving in that way. That's an easy thing for me to do.
I notice with comedians,
Yes.
there seems to be a line. I don't
Yes.
know where the line is. I'm making up. Maybe there's not a line, but to
I
me,
don't know.
there's that
Yes.
some comedians tease as their way of inducing laughter
Yeah.
among people. You are not one of those people.
No.
Where is the line between like humor and darkness for you?
And for me personally, it's pretty big. It's a pretty big line for me. And that's why, like, when I was sharing information with you, like, I don't really do stand up as much anymore.
Hmm.
First of all, because there's actually a craft involved. There's the craft of the joke. You're supposed to polish your act and do a set and hone that one that. And
Hmm.
I like more of a spontaneous interacting thing, but for me in stand up or in stand up comedy, I'm just going to talk about that for a minute. For me, where I try hard. I try to not take in things that I try to watch what I consume. And so for
Hmm.
me, it's dark humor is kind of funny. And I'm not going to say I don't laugh because I'm a little immature, but for me, you know, being around comedy that's just completely foul language, and
Hmm.
I'm not above a cuss word. Don't hear me say that, but I don't for shock value, I don't find that. I feel like that's the path of least resistance, because of
Uh-huh.
course I can say something shocking and people are gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, that's shocking." So I try very
Yeah.
hard to not pursue those kinds of things. And also too, just going back to the fact about being in recovery, like I was in so much darkness and sadness and despair when I was drinking. I don't want to return to that trough, like I
Um,
don't want to, I feel like I was given the gift of not having to live that way anymore. So I don't
mhm.
want to go back and dip my toe in. And I don't know. I don't know that that answered the question, but on the other hand, some dark stuff can be funny, if it's done with, I don't know, a friend and I went to see this comedian at Wits End, um, and he had some really deep things he was discussing, but he was to me very thoughtful and intelligent. Like he thought about why it was hard,
Mhm.
and so it wasn't as offensive. Now he did use a lot of F-bombs, but that's okay. But it was very thoughtful. So I think there's a
Yeah.
difference between just vulgar and
Mhm.
really giving some thought and having some depth, behind the story.
Yeah,
Is
it almost is like using pain, or for it sounds like for that comedian, his
Yeah,
own pain.
yes,
Was able to see his pain as the painful experience that it was for him, and be able to communicate the lightness of it. Like, look at where I was, and laugh with me. Help me
yes.
release it.
Because the chances are we can identify with something in that
Exactly.
story, whether it
Yeah.
was, about a wacky relationship, or about, um, a weird interaction with his in-laws, or all the things. We can all kind of relate to those things. And yeah, I guess for me, just to, I don't love just the vulgar
Yeah.
silliness, but that's everybody's choice. Everyone likes different things.
But it sounds like for you, the line is the cheap shot, the easy
Yes, thank
shot
you. And I like to
versus.
think I'm a little classy. Yeah, but just being gross is not funny to me. Some people like it. I don't know.
Do you have jokes that you repeat over and
Well,
over?
Uh, well, that's where I felt like a little bit of a hack. But one of my favorite ones, and it was just one that I stole it. But being in recovery, um, is I found out that I had to quit drinking because I was allergic to alcohol. Every time I drink, I break out in handcuffs. So I had that's my go-to. Yeah, that's my solid one. That gets them each time. And then talked about mom who's passed away being in rehab after that. And, I was like, my mom's 80 and she just got out of rehab. And people are like, oh, that's great. I'm like, no, she had knee replacement surgery, like that. So those are kind of corny, but I don't think I was as great at stand up. There are some really good stand up comedians, and the honing of that, the stick to itiveness of that, I lack that skill. Maybe my thoughts, ADHD. I don't know.
I'm not sure because I have seen many things that you've said about, in particular, it happens to be about your mother.
Mm.
Um, but you took exactly what you said that one comedian did. You took pain, your pain, it happened to be your pain at the moment, and you shared it with everybody in such a lighthearted, funny way that I think it was your way of healing
100%.
what was happening for you.
100% because it was so heavy because when we were caring for my mom, I had small children.
Hmm.
And it was like that sandwich generation that some of us are in. We're having to deal with older parents and make decisions that they don't want made for them. And it was
Yeah,
just and then I had my little kids that I wanted to enjoy. It was very stressful.
yeah,
And but it was a great relief, especially to hear you say that and hear other people say, "Oh gosh, I connect with that so much," because it is so many emotions caught up in it, like feeling like I should want to take care of my mom. I didn't want to take care of her,
yeah, yeah.
and I wanted to just enjoy me, but
Hmm.
then to kind of zoom out, look at the big picture, it was a relief valve because it was very stressful. And it
Yeah.
can be.
And she was a problem patient, right? In
Oh,
rehab.
100%. And I'm not far behind her. I get my medical advice from TikTok, and my doctor's like, could you listen to me maybe and not watch the TikToks based, if you're going to take statins because TikTok tells you not to, just go ahead and take them. Anyway, but yeah, she was, but you know what, Tracy, I think that made me spicy because of her spice, and yeah, she was not compliant. No, zero compliant. And also like she would tell physicians things like she fell one time and she told them I pushed her. I'm like, "Lady, you're going to get me arrested." So
Oh,
let's don't use that humor
right.
in that instance because that's some high stakes stuff there.
I Now I do have to hear the story about the shank.
So mom was she a rehab and she going through her things and I did her laundry for her when she was there. I don't know. I just like to do her laundry and finding some things she had like a homemade shank in there, like taped up, like you would find in the jailhouse, like in her top drawer. I'm like, what goes on here when we're not here? It was like knife fights. You're like, I'm gonna stick somebody, but yeah, like jailhouse shank. She made it. It's crazy.
What was her reasoning? Because I know you asked her, why do you have a shank, Mom?
She, I don't know what she said. I can't recall exactly, but I'm
Yeah.
sure she probably told me to stay out of her business. Don't worry about what she's doing. If I had to, yeah, I don't remember what her response was, but that would have not been, you're not my mother, mind your business. I'm sure
Mi-
shut me down right quick.
Mind your business.
Yeah, none of
Give
your
me that
business.
shank.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, give him a shank back. I'm gonna need it later. We got some stuff to do. Her little posse of her
Yeah.
ladies at the place.
You gave a lot of flavor to this woman who probably had a lot of flavor.
So
Um,
much flavor. And
mhm.
she adopted me too. So there's that whole, is it genetics? Is it environmental? And, I think genetics are crazy strong, but yeah, so I don't know, nature versus nurture. Yeah, I mean, yeah, she was spicy. I was just as spicy. We spiced it up. And that doesn't make for a lot of pleasantries all the time, but
Yeah.
we
And
did
yet,
have some laughs.
and you miss her.
So, so much, Tracy. So much.
Do
But I'll
you,
tell you, I'm a person of faith. The last 6 months, mom was alive. We were blessed with this. I'll just say it. It was like a supernatural sweetness that didn't
oh,
exist between us historically. So I
hmm,
treasure that. I'm so thankful that God gave us that opportunity because
hmm.
I think I would have a lot more to contend with today had we not had that time.
Yeah.
I think I would have had so much more guilt, so much more. shame and feeling like I didn't measure up and all those things. So I'm very, very thankful for that time. I feel like we got to say everything we needed to say to each other, which is
Yeah.
a blessing. People don't get that.
Hmm. No,
People
they
don't get,
don't.
so
Yeah.
I'm very thankful.
Very lucky. Do
Yeah.
you have a favorite joke about mothering? Either
Mm.
your mother or mothering?
Okay, I'll tell you what my son said to me. I have two boys. One is 19 and one is 16. Yeah, this is my one I like to pull out on his, yeah, embarrass him. But so we were at the DMV, my son and I, and there was an older lady in a walker, and she had an adult daughter with her. And I was looking at her, I was like, "Oh, Jack, that reminds me of Grammy in the walker." And I was like, "I wonder who will take care of me when I get old. Will you take care of me?" And he said, "No, the hospice people will take care of you." I mean, this kid has me straight at hospice. There was no, surgery, no bedridden for a minute. He's like, "The hospice people are going to take." I'm like, "God, I'm not going to sleep with one eye open because Jack is going to put a pillow." Dark humor. I like Jack was going to put a pillow over my head while I sleep, but he had me straight at hospice. That was it. So I better
Yeah.
stay healthy or I'm going to hospice.
Which is funny, especially coming from that child because he's a very sweet, kind.
Oh, 1,000,000%. But he's the one who usually delivers the jokes that break the tension. It's like
Uh-huh.
he is the one who watches myself, my older son, and my husband spin, and then he'll go and do a zinger. So
Oh,
yeah, he's
nice.
very sweet, very intuitive, I think. Very
Yeah.
emotionally intellectual, which
That's
is unusual for a 16-year-old.
yeah, that's
Also
amazing.
causes me to worry, but
Moms always worry.
yeah, I don't want him to take on too many things that are not his responsibility, you know?
Which can feel that way when you do have the gift of laughter. When you are able to heal people with just your words, thoughtful words. It is an enormous responsibility. It's a gift for sure, but also a responsibility. I mean,
Mm.
very thankful people like you and he are in this world. I think all of us are very grateful for people like that. I can't tell jokes. I know people.
Neither can I.
I I really adore people who flub the punchline. They like try so hard to tell a joke, and
Yes.
no matter what, they get it wrong. I'm not that bad, but
Yeah.
those that's actually funny. But the gift of laughter is just such a beautiful thing, and I wanted to have you here today to share this podcast with me, this
Oh,
space with me.
what a
And
great compliment.
I just want to go over the benefits again.
Okay, yes.
Laughter. Laughter is healing, reduces cortisol, helps relax your muscles instead of this.
Yes.
Those muscles, gets more oxygen up to the brain, stimulates your whole circulatory system, stimulates your heart and your lungs and your muscles, releases endorphins. Endorphins are the good ones.
Hmm.
Cortisol is the bad one. It reduces cortisol, releases the endorphins, which are the good ones. Um, and that's how it relieves pain. So a lot of people with chronic pain, um, even just simple laughter is something that can be helpful. Fosters bonding and social connection. And then I think another important one, I know we talked about it, but it's just really important to emphasize again, shifting that perspective. When you're in that negative swirl and you're thinking, I will feel this way forever.
Mm.
If you can find something that you know either brings you joy or potential some laughter, it doesn't have to be the big belly laughs, although the big belly laughs are the most healing. But something that can bring you some sort of joy and laughter, please go for it because it can take that darkness and just shift it just a little bit. And it's so healing and important.
So important. And also too, Tracy, when you think about the times you've laughed so hard that your stomach hurts, it's like you can get
Yes.
a core workout. You don't even have to plank. You just laugh. And have you read that our brain doesn't like fake laughter? They have these things like these laugh camps, so to speak, that they said that your brain doesn't make the distinction between fake laughter and real laughter. I know that there is a distinction, but I found that
Yeah,
interesting. So
it is. It is really interesting. You can induce your own laughter. I think they have, I was reading laugh yoga.
Yes, something like that. But I
Yeah.
think that's pretty significant. And what a simple thing to do for ourselves if we can
What,
be mindful to do it.
yeah, I mean, even if you're just thinking about the body, the way our bodies were designed, how brilliant was that?
So amazing.
That was amazing.
Just an inherent gift.
It's an inherent gift that we all have, and maybe we don't appreciate it. And maybe some of us, and I've done it too, where I've thought, I might be mad at a situation or a particular person. I don't like that person. I don't like that situation. I am never ever going to laugh at that person. They will never make me laugh. And that it's not necessarily true, right? It
Right.
can really shift your perspective. It's so important in that what really consider if what you're telling yourself is true. If it's that easy to think, I'll never laugh again, and then you do, you
Isn't that
can.
amazing? And what a freedom what a freedom.
We are free. Yes,
Yeah.
we are free. We are
If
free to
we
laugh.
can.
It is something we can do. You can even fake laugh, as Dee Dee said. You can fake laugh your way into it. Not all situations. I mean, you can go looking for the laughter. You can go looking. Oh, and that's the other thing. It's contagious. If you're around a group of friends that have made you laugh and one of you starts laughing, it doesn't even have to be a funny story. It's hysterical when you're
It
with
is.
your friends. Yeah.
And you can't help but kind of smile and join in, just like what you said at the
Mhm.
beginning. It helps us connect to each other. And I think we're guilty sometimes of losing that connection or not
Yeah.
being mindful of it, intentional about it.
Yeah. So one last thing though, I would never encourage you to crack a joke at an inopportune time because sometimes they land wrong and sometimes somebody does need to air out the negative feelings.
Oh, 100%.
So there is a time and a place. There is an art to this. However, overall, laughter is so healing, and our gift, Dee Dee and I are here today
Um,
to to talk about laughter, to talk about the healing properties of laughter, and to wish for all of you listening a, a laugh.
Brilliant. Yes. Not to minimize pain and hard things. Honest. Yes, I agree 100%. Not
But
to
laughter,
minimize it.
laughter relieves pain, so it's there. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off for today. Thank you all for joining us. If anybody wants more information, please go to our website at choosinghelp.com. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So great to see you.
You too.
Thank you.
We would like to hear from you. We would love to hear more from our community of listeners. Do you know someone who is struggling with a mental health condition and you would like to help them, but you're not sure what to say? Please feel free to get in touch with us. There's two ways that you can contact us. One is at choosinghelp.com. The other is you can email me directly. My email is Stecker, Stecker, at musc.edu. If you know somebody who's struggling, you'd like to get some help on how to help them, feel free to get in touch with us. We would love to hear from you. Also, if you know of some success stories, you know somebody who is struggling and they really work through it, we would love to feature them. We would love to hear about them. Please feel free to share the stories of their success. If it was you, please feel free to let us know about your success. We would really like to know. We'd like to hear more from you. So, choosinghelp.com is our website, or you can email me directly, Stecker at musc.edu. Welcome to Choosing Help.